Why Lenny Yoro's injury delay is not a bad thing for Manchester United. A new approach where Ten Hag and power for Ten Hag is taken out of his hands. Something Ten Hag talks about in the press conference yesterday, which backs this up as well. But Manchester United are not looking to push Lenny Yoro back, are in no desperate need to bring him back in. Where does that fit him in with Manchester United side? I've got a poll running right now of your best centre-back partnership whenever everyone is fit and available. Where does Lenny Yoro fit in with that? But the most important news is, and the most positive news is, that Manchester United are able to actually make sure that these players are 100% fit before coming back. Where are we actually at with Lenny Yoro? All the news on that. A bit of transfer news as well going into the summer off the back of what Romano has been tweeting out recently as well to keep you updated. This is your 8 o'clock in the morning, Friday, the day before match day, everybody. Welcome along to Forever United TV. All of your updates around Manchester United right here, right now. Early doors. Let's get into everything that's going on with Manchester United. But before that, let's get the likes up on the video, please, everybody. As many as you possibly can to set us up for the weekend. You know the score on a Friday. If we get a lot of likes, it means United win. It's worked the last 2 pre-match days, so let's go with that again. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification button, and you won't miss out on a thing to do with Manchester United. It is exciting to be going into a match day weekend off the back of positive results, feeling in buoyant mood. I must say, I am quite optimistic going into this game. You all know from last night when we had Jay on, we did a sort of roundup show after Ten Hag's press conference talking about our sort of mood and where we're at with Manchester United. I'm hanging on to that 3-1 win. I think United will end that Crystal Palace voodoo and we will move forward finally from Selhurst Park with all 3 points. It's important. Lenny Yoro will not be in that game, as we already know. He's been out injured since that metatarsal injury in the games in pre-season. And Manchester United are in a position to actually make sure that Lenny Yoro comes back fully fit. Now, he is miles ahead of schedule, so the news about a delay, and the Muppeteers have been talking about this and tweeted this out last night as well. The delay is not a bad thing. Let's just make that very clear at the start of the show. It is not negative news. It is very positive, in fact, and that is that Manchester United have a new strategy in place. We talked about it with monitoring game time slightly with Kobbie Mainoo. We also talked about it with Mason Mount and Rasmus Højlund and what their returns are going to be with Manchester United. Ten Hag alluded to it in his press conference yesterday when we said, the question was asked to Ten Hag in the press conference yesterday, where are Mason Mount and Rasmus Højlund? They've both had a couple of days training with the squad now, and tomorrow they will make a decision on whether or not they are fit. Who is they? It's definitely not the players, because United wouldn't be stupid enough to actually put the power in the players' hands in terms of if they're ready to be able to be available for selection, let's just say, for a match day. I look at it and I think that Ten Hag now, and what Dan Ashworth has been saying and the whole structure around Ten Hag and that power being taken away from him, it's not a bad thing. I don't want to make it sound like Ten Hag has been completely stripped of this bit of power, because he's not. All it is people in the right positions in the football club making sure that these players are 100% ready. When we said that Ten Hag just needs to go on that training ground, get all of the players ready, get the strategies in, get everybody on board with his message, with his philosophy, whatever you want to call it, that includes players being fully fit. And Ten Hag will only be dealing with these players if they are fully ready to go. Now, after every training session with the squad, and obviously Ten Hag will only think about bringing a player into the team, into the matchday squad even, if they are fully fit and have been training with the first team. A decision will be made by the football club, or whoever, the medical team, and I know that still sends shivers down a lot of your spines regarding Manchester United's medical team, because they don't have a good track history, do they? So Ten Hag will only be able to select a player if this medical team and Manchester United's physios and everyone in that department clears that player to play. Now, he has to have been playing with the first team for a number of games. Ten Hag will look at how their players are fitted in. He will then obviously speak to the people and the powers that be regarding the recovery process of the players and where they're actually at. Thorough investigations into the injuries, when they do occur, would have already gone down and then monitored fully. So Ten Hag just has to deal with fully fit players. That's it. He's not trying to nurture players back in. He's not having to say in press conferences, I need that player to want to play. for Manchester United. He has to want to play for United. That was the message last season in the press conference, and sort of talking around the Anthony Martial situation. And that kind of just led me to thinking, and a lot of people want him to want to play. Yes, that means that he wants to play through an injury. That means he wants to be on that pitch if he's just got a niggle. He talked about the game against Crystal Palace last season and why it's going to be so different this season, because last season he had no one to select. And I did say last night, like you all know, I'm not having injuries as an excuse for not being able to work out a style of play or anything like that. But in that Palace game last season, we played Johnny Evans when we shouldn't have played him. He wasn't 100% fit. And it's moments like this last season that now won't be occurring this season. And when Ten Hag says it will be totally different, it's because he's got a full team to select from, and that may impact the game. But the bigger picture in all of it is that Manchester United will only have players in that matchday squad that have trained, that are fully fit, and that have gone through all of the tests that are necessarily there to make sure that that player can give 100%. There's no playing through injuries, and there's no I have to want him to want to play. It's been taken out of Ten Hag's hands and say, look, these are now the players you're playing with. These are the players that are going to be training that you can select. And they're playing with you and the first team squad at Carrington right now because we have passed them off. It's then up to you to decide tactically how you want your squad to look on a match day. Ten Hag talked also about the 16-man when asked about Anthony and his, you have to be in that 16-man squad, i.e., there are 11 places on the pitch and then 5 substitutes to make. So Ten Hag, again, he's sort of letting us into how he looks at the game and how he picks his teams. So he's got 16 players to choose from. And now, as you know, with Mason Mount and Rasmus Højlund coming back, that 16-man squad for the match day are the ones that he is going to actually use, going off how they've trained and how they reacted to his message in training and everything like that. It's going to be very, very tight because with Yoro coming back as well in a few weeks. And by the way, Yoro's injury is going to be, we're going to see him back now. It's expected towards the back end of this month, i.e. when we hit the international break. I said after the next international break is probably when we will see Lenny Yoro, and the Muppets have come out and pretty much back that up by giving the news that Manchester United, even though Yoro is training again, not fully with the squad yet, but is training, he won't be rushed in this next group of games. So we won't see him for any of the next 5 games that Manchester United have got before the next international break. Expect to see Lenny Yoro towards the back end of October, which is a lot better than what was first thought, which was January. So the news at the top of the show in the delay isn't so much a delay that Lenny Yoro is going to be out for a sustained period even longer than we first thought, because that was January. He is going to be back before that, and he's going to be back in training before November, which is massive for Manchester United. And selection headache-wise, we don't really care because it just puts everything in Ten Hag's court, and then everything can be looked at on him. Now he's got his fully fit squad that he's been craving since he's been at Manchester United. And hopefully this new strategy in place with the injuries and making sure that these players are actually fully fit and fully ready to go is going to help Ten Hag always have that. Monitoring of the younger players' game time. Making sure that players are fully invested in the squad and what that actual, what the goal is at Manchester United. Because I talked about this yesterday regarding Anthony and players on the fringe. If they feel like they're part of it, then when they're coming off the bench, then they're going to be giving more than what they probably was last season. Because last season, a player would come on and have a good performance, and no, automatically he's going to have to wait another 3 or 4 weeks before we have another crap game and he can make an appearance again in a nothing game. Now, obviously, Anthony did a lot in the game against Barnsley. Yes, it's only Barnsley, but he will be in the matchday squad and may give more in that game. And it just helps. When you know that everybody is fully fit, you know that everybody can give 100%, then you can sort of build a philosophy. You can sort of get into the player's psyche and make sure that everyone is on board with what the message is and where you want to go. Ten Hag has said, look, he was blown away by Ineos in the summer at the direction that everyone was going in. It's like Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, and everyone coming out and backing Ten Hag. It's fantastic, and obviously results on the pitch are key to it all. If we get a few more good results on the pitch and everyone starts to feel confident within the club, within Ten Hag and the message, and him looking after the players differently, i.e. him not looking after the players, someone else at the club taking charge of that and taking that pressure off him like it should be at a big football club, then you can start to get a little bit more of a culture being built. And you only get culture built if you've got everyone on board. We've got rid of the headaches in the summer and the players that don't want to obviously be there at Manchester United. And now we're looking at a squad that really want to get behind Ten Hag and want to play for him. Well, you would hope so anyway. And everything that goes on behind the scenes to prepare these players to be available for Ten Hag is only going to help this team move forward. And that is that's the look on Lenny Yoro and how Manchester United are approaching the situation with injuries right now. It's important that Manchester United have everyone available. We know this. It's the same for every single club. You need to have everyone available if you're going to compete on all fronts. You see now already how difficult it is for some of the big clubs in the Champions League this week, like City not scoring, Arsenal not scoring. These are free-flowing, free-scoring football teams in the Premier League. Difficult. And priorities need to be put in place. And this is the situation that United will come up against next week when we play FC 20 on the Wednesday night. We need to have everyone available. And if you've got a firing Antony, you can argue his quality. And firing Antony is still not anywhere near as good as what a half-fit Garnacho is and all of that debate and conversation. But if you've got a firing Antony, if you've got players in that front line that are actually on form because they're all getting game time, then them games become a lot easier and they build confidence within. So if Antony's playing or Ahmad's playing and you've got maybe Højlund in against 20, all of them players have got a goal and all of them players are on board with the new culture set and everything and the goals that the club have set alongside it, and they will feel like doing well in that game is going to give them a chance of being in that side. And eventually it builds that culture, and I feel like all of the little things, and this is where Sir David Brailsford's comment comes in, the minor gains, the little gains all along, people being put in position and little things taken away from Ten Hag stress-wise and responsibility-wise help with United moving forward. The injury side of things is massive and was a burden last season, but I feel like we've got off to a good start in terms of injuries and having everyone available, and now it's time for Ten Hag to build what needs to be built to get everyone on board with the injuries and everything that Manchester United need to try and get over, let's say. Already 120 likes on the video, well over 650 in the room with us. Thank you everybody for joining us. Get your comments in now and come into the comments section. We also have a poll, get the likes up, come on. We also have a poll, make sure you've subscribed as well everybody if you are tuning in for the first time. When all centre-backs are available, who plays? De Ligt and Martinez, Yoro and Martinez, De Ligt and Yoro, or Yoro, De Ligt and Martinez. Will we even try having a back three? I would love a back three. I really would. I think it suits Martinez better. I think it'll suit the other two centre-backs better as well. With Agate in front of them, it's a no-brainer. I know we play Championship and FIFA football here, and we're not in the mix, and we're not in charge of these players face-to-face, but does it not sound good? Does it not sound healthy that Manchester United would have that back three? Then we've got flying wing-backs. We're not having to rely on Luke Shaw as much anymore. There's just so many options there that we need to be looking at. And a nice drink of coffee from Kaz as well. Lovely. Okay, keep voting on the poll, please, everybody. We've got them coming up. New member in the house is Stephanie, the mod that was gifted by Tom. Thank you, Tom, and welcome again, Stephanie. I can't remember how many times you've been a member now, or gifted ones. Let's get into the chat and see what you're all saying. And let's see, let's scroll up and have a look. Let's just have a quick mooch up here. Everyone just in buoyant mood here right now. I'm loving this. Let's just see. So when I can actually see people in the chat saying, so it's not a delay. So it's not the headline. Look, there is a delay, but it's a forced, and it's a delay that Manchester United are putting on it themselves. They could bring Lenny Yoro back. They could do what they did last season. But they could also risk the player not being fully fit and then risking that injury coming back again. Look, it's the same with Rasmus Højlund. We know that he's got a chronic back issue. We know he's got a history of back problems, which leads to hamstring and back issues coincide, and they go side by side. We all know this. So the fact that Rasmus Højlund has been training for a bit and won't be rushed in this weekend, maybe part of the matchday squad, I don't know. I don't expect to see Rasmus Højlund on the pitch this weekend. I don't think Ten Hag's going to do it. And if he doesn't, that's the biggest sign that Manchester United are changing their ways and are actively delaying injury returns to make sure that the player prospers long term, not just for the short term games right now, and getting the player in as soon as possible. It's not needed, and I don't think United are going to be going down that road. Let's see what else we've got in the chat here. Plenty of people arguing about the older injury situation. Yoro won't be back until January. Metatarsal is usually 6 months. MA, he's back before then, mate. Don't worry about that. Metatarsals don't take 6 months when you're 18. And you only have to look at Wayne Rooney and David Beckham for a metatarsal recovery. Come on, man. You should know that. It feels like the players are on board with the project, says Gary. Midfield trio, front three, whatever they are, need to work as a unit and fight for each other, says Stephanie. Just saying, people can't wait for Yoro to come back strong. We literally signed the world's best young centre-back and haven't even got a chance to see him play. He will be fine. He will be fire, no question, says Matthias. In terms of can't wait to see him play, going off the poll, De Ligt and Martinez are always going to be Manchester United's number one centre-back partnership, according to you guys. 56% of the vote are saying De Ligt and Martinez. Yoro and Martinez is 10%. 7% think De Ligt and Yoro, and a back three is 27%. That's a higher percentage on the poll and what people think might happen when everyone's fit than having a Yoro Martinez back two or a De Ligt and Yoro back two. I like it, honestly. I love the back three. I do. I think back three works so well. If we played 3-5-2, it would be lovely to see. Yoro will be back for Arsenal game in December, according to some journals. There's no need to rush him back. See, what we're saying as well, Lenny Yoro will be back in November, but only available. He doesn't have to be played. So what we're saying is he's off crutches, he's out of his boot, he's walking on his own, he'll be doing his rehab and everything like that. That's fine, that's one stage. Then he starts training on grass, stage 2, and then he starts playing with the first team, stage 3. Stage 4 is if Ten Hag actually selects him and thinks he's ready to play. So this is the method, this is the pathway for injured players right now. United's structure has got it in place where players actually, even when they look like they're fully fit and back in training, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to play. They could be fit and available to play, going off the books for 3 weeks and still not play. United that's the delay that we're talking about. United won't bring them back. They will keep training them and training them. Think back to, and not many people know this, but back to Louis van Gaal days and how he dealt with injuries was he made sure the player came back to training first of all, and then he made the player train for 2 weeks with the first team to assess whether that player was fit and ready to come back into a match. 2 weeks of first team training. Like Manchester United, they get back onto that training ground at Carrington. They do one little game of rondo between the players on the training ground pitch, and that's it. You're back in the matchday squad. You're in the first team straight away. It's completely different now. I feel like we're going back to a sort of Van Gaal sort of setup where the players have to be playing with the first team and training with the first team for a certain amount of time before they're even considered and not just rush straight back in. And the fact that we have got such a big squad and the fact that that squad is playing well is obviously the bonus that I've just been discussing. I think Manchester United are in a position where we can actually now look at the players that are available and just pick the team that is going to be better for that match day. I.e., we've got every centre-back available. So when Yoro comes back, Manchester United will have De Ligt, Martinez, we'll have Yoro, we'll have Maguire, we'll have Evans, Victor Lindelof, and we'll have multiple options to choose from. No need to be rushing anyone back out of that group in particular who isn't fully ready. Everyone who plays will be 100%. And this was the hardest thing in the transfer window, and making sure we had 2 players for every position. This is why I feel the Kobe Mainu video that I did the other day is so relevant to making sure that these players are 100%, because it's not just physically, it's mentally. Bruno Fernandes should drop into that number 8 role and give Kobe Mainu a rest. Kobe Mainu at times could come in and play at number 10. There's no reason why they can't be mixed up, but I feel like because we've got such a lack of number 8s in the side, or natural 8s, I think Bruno fits there. Whether or not Ten Hag can drill into him that positional discipline which he needs to have, and I agree with everyone that brings it up constantly all the time when they're arguing against Bruno Fernandes. I understand it totally. I'm not batting it off like it's not a relevant opinion because I like Bruno. I love Bruno Fernandes. I do. I still think he's the best player at the football club. But I understand the argument about discipline. I reckon Bruno can come in at 8 and someone else can play 10. You've got Mount coming back who's fit now who can play 10. Xerxes can play 10. Mainu can play 10. Ahmad can play 10. Eriksen can play 10. We've got an abundance of 10s but no 8s. Bruno could easily drop in. He's got the engine to play a number 8. And if you want to make the most of him, I feel like if he's in an 8 and he's doing more of a all-around role, I think it's easier to discipline him. Because in 10 he tries to do an 8 and he tries to do a 9. If he's in 8 and he's further back and controlling the game more, working alongside the likes of Ugarte from the 6 role, I think it probably suits him better. And it was his position at Sporting. I understand in the 10 role that Bruno provides and he gets multiple assists. But the option is there for Manchester United. And I feel like that is something that we need to tap into as well. Especially when it's looking to rest players like Kobbie Mainoo. We have De Ligt and Martinez playing well, so no need to rush Yoro back. Exactly, 90 Stephen, 100% agree with that one. Sean says, broken foot come with a lot of stiffness in the tendons. Even after the foot has healed, it's getting rid of the stiffness that can lead to other injuries. Again, like United are in a brilliant position where they don't need to rush Lenny Yoro back. So no need to panic. Make sure he's fit. You've got Maguire there. You've got Evans there. They're more than capable to cover for Martinez and De Ligt when needed at the moment. So no panic at all. Just make sure the lad is right. If he doesn't come back till early December, so what? As long as he's fit and as long as he's good to go, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Almost at 200 likes. Thank you, everybody. Please keep them likes coming in. Over 800 in the room with us right now. Please share the video, like the video, and make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Let's try and get as many people in the room. Let's get as close to 1,000 people watching as we can before the show finishes. We've got plenty to get through yet. Kobbie Mainoo versus Manuel Ugarte. This is the midfield duel Manchester United fans need. That's from Amir. MA says they don't play alike, but immediate comparison is that both players have a knack for scoring braces at an early age. That must be in a conversation with someone else there, I'm guessing, regarding 2 players. Bruno had 8 assists last year, 6 the year before. He isn't as prolific as assisting as people think. Compare him to other people, United Spotlight, before you go in on him and then come back. You've always got to compare it to the league that you're in and the competition that you've got. It's all right picking out different moments from people's careers and saying, look at his stats from this year. He's not that great. Well, look at what everyone else is doing and what assists everyone else has got in the same position at better clubs and teams that are doing better, and then come back. That's the ultimate comparison, I feel. It's like we do it with the league. Like, everyone's saying we had a good season last season. I said no because we finished 8th. The table never lies. And the table never lies when you compare a player to another player at a better club as well. You can only go off what other players are in the same position, I feel, and then you can make a good comparison to it. Let's see. Bruno is good. He can be great if he plays with more calm and control. Really believe he will get there. Look, he's getting to 30 now. He needs to get there, doesn't he, Rakesh? But I feel like if he plays in that 8 role, I think he will be better, personally. I think it suits his game a little bit more where he's at right now, because I think getting older, I think Bruno Fernandes is trying to get hold of the ball more. He's trying to do more. I think he's trying to show everybody that he has still got it, and he's overcooking it a lot of the time. Off the bench, with the game already won the other day, Bruno Fernandes looked fantastic. I know, again, like Barnsley, I'll never forget like who the opposition has been with Southampton and Barnsley over the last 2 days, but you can only play who's in front of you. He came off the bench and seamlessly just got 2 assists out of nothing. And it was brilliant. No one would have played that ball to Eriksen for the first goal for Eriksen. It was brilliant play. He could have pulled it back on the edge of the box. Eriksen made a very clever run, and there's 2 smart operators there in Bruno and Eriksen who figured that and got that goal. That was brilliant. That was one of the better goals. And the second one for Eriksen, the interchange between the 3 players up front, and then Bruno's dragged back for Eriksen, again in the perfect position to hit the ball. It was just a joy to see. And having players like that have the confidence in their game and the creative side of things, like not just Bruno, but Eriksen as well. Because even if Eriksen doesn't play against Crystal Palace, you now know that you could bring that player on. Like I was saying with Anthony before, you can bring him on and then he can play a different sort of role in the game. You know he's going to be fit and firing, and you know he's going to have the eye for goal. So Eriksen comes on as an actual goal threat. on Saturday against Crystal Palace when we need him. And he's a brilliant option to have there off the bench now. Obviously, one of Garnacho and Ahmad will probably be coming off the bench as well. Or Zirkzee, dare I say, Rasmus Højlund as well. But you just look at it and go, and this is the whole point of having everybody on board again, it is good to see that people will come off the bench and have an impact. And I think rotating the squad is going to be the reason behind that. And I feel like that's what Ten Hag has got at his advantage right now. Cling on to this right now and this good vibe. Make sure that players are getting good game time. Everybody will understand. It's like, what do you want me to do? If someone's not happy with a decision within Manchester United's squad, the manager, all he can do is go back and say, look, we've just scored 10 goals playing this exact way. Why are we going to change it now? Beforehand, you could say that United were playing shit. Well, I can do better. And the player would always have an argument with the manager or have a case for arguing with the manager. Well, look, he was in last time and we didn't win. Last time it was a crap performance, so why am I not playing now? Why are we not changing it up now? Now Ten Hag has got a system that's working over the last two games, and he's mixed up players. He brought in Eriksen when nobody expected Eriksen to play. Started him 2 games in a row, and we've scored 10 goals. Bruno Fernandes was on the bench. We won 7-0. I mean, Ahmad didn't play, our most creative player this season, but we still scored goals. Rashford got 2, Garnacho got 2. There are so many different situations that Ten Hag can go back on and argue with players, and this is what breeds that confidence. If you're winning, then every single player has got no argument with the system or whatever the manager decides to talk about or decides to do on the pitch. So you're in a win-win situation straight away, I feel, with having all of the goals going in the performances as they are. Cling on to this now, rotate, keep everyone hungry, and that way I feel like we will get through this next group of games and all of the pressure will be completely relieved on Ten Hag. We need confidence going into the last 3 games of this phase anyway, against Spurs, Porto and Aston Villa. Very, very tough games. And I feel like just get through Palace. We got to get the win tomorrow. Then beat 20. 4 wins in a row. And Manchester United comfortably back into the top 6. I think that would take us if we get that win tomorrow with all the other games that are going on. And I feel like then going into the Spurs game, if you maybe get a draw out with Spurs and a draw against Villa, that won't be looked on too badly because that will be, 8 points out of the 4 Premier League games. Obviously, the tough games against Spurs and Villa. And then in what's that? What would that have been? That would have been 8 Premier League games so far. Is it 8 Premier League? No, 7 Premier League games so far played. And you've already played Liverpool, Spurs and Villa, all teams that finished above you last season. And you're still in the mix and not too far away from top 4. Doing okay in the Europa League and through to the next round of the Carabao Cup. That gets Ten Hag through this next batch into the international break in confident, buoyant mood again. And then we're moving forward looking at the fixtures after the next international break and hoping that Manchester United can move on from there. But yeah, that's how I see it. I think that's how you've got to look at it. Game by game. But beat Palace tomorrow. That one is crucial because it just gets the points on the board. It relieves the pressure a tiny little bit on the Spurs and Villa game. And then if you can beat Spurs at home, which I know we can do and our record's fantastic, then a draw against Villa. Or even if you draw Villa and Spurs, the pressure isn't as big because you've already got results in the bag. And them games, anybody can expect anything to happen. Villa and Spurs against Manchester United, I don't think anyone can predict what's going to happen in them games. But it's the smaller games that Manchester United have been criticised for. Being beaten 4-0 last season by Crystal Palace, that's the one that adds that added extra weight onto Ten Hag's shoulders in trying to carry the burden of being Manchester United manager when we're underperforming. I feel like they're the ones, like beating Southampton fine, beating Barnsley, get Palace beat, get Twente beat, get the necessary needed stuff out of the way, and then you can have a debate and an argument about results against the likes of Spurs, Porto and Villa, because them games can go either way. But I don't think anyone will be piling in pressure on Ten Hag if them games do go either way, because we've got the other 4 wins out of the way already. So you see where I'm going with it? The importance of the smaller games, really, that give you that better chance to go into the bigger games and more confident. But even if it doesn't go quite according to plan, the pressure isn't as much. A few more comments before we move on to the next points in the show. Bruno need to give spoiled bait to friends and not to be arrogant. Not sure what that is. Maybe a typo on there. Bruno first thought is to look to score. It is very different. Let's see that again, short. Like everyone piling on Bruno. FA Cup final highlights are right there. I could have hit that ball straight away, but no, he squares it to Manu. Easier finish. United win the FA Cup. Do people forget about these moments? Bruno's first instinct is to score. No, it's not. It isn't. And that's just an agenda, I feel, against him personally. Look, I understand everyone's argument with it, and I've made the point of making that already, but don't say that he is the type of player that he really isn't in terms of like looking for the goal all the time, being greedy, trying to hit the Hollywood pass. He does do simple things as well, and people don't pick up on it at all because they don't want to. And I feel like that's what's happened with a lot of these players right now. Let's just see what else we've got in the chat before we move on. As soon as I mention Bruno, it opens up the chat to a whole world of debate, doesn't it? I mean, come on. Seriously, like we had an alright game the other day, did we not? Bruno's had 3 assists in the last 2 games. We should be happy. We shouldn't be picking out little issues, should we? Everyone goes on about me for trying to find problems, and I'm trying to be positive, and everyone's trying to bring it back down again. Come on, people. We should be happy. We're going to beat Palace tomorrow. We're going to beat Palace tomorrow. We're going to beat Palace tomorrow. Come on, please. 900 in the room. Thank you, everybody. 250 likes. Let's get them up. We're going to hit that 300 like mark before the show ends. I love that. Come on. Right, okay. Let's have a bit of an update on transfer situations. Manchester United are still actively chasing Edison. Obviously, we talked about this a plenty. The midfield... The super midfielder from Atalanta. You've seen how well Atalanta did last night against Arsenal. Obviously, triggers the same sort of conversations again, doesn't it, with old transfer news and stuff like that. But Romano has been out talking about a couple of deals that United could be looking at. We spoke the other day about Diblin and other players Manchester United may be looking at, with younger players being the preferred sort of targets for the club. Getting deals for players that have contracts coming to an end, taking advantage of certain situations. United are tracking Edison still and is going to be one of Man United's top targets in the summer. There is still traction behind that story about Manchester United going in to Atalanta and trying to make a deal happen that couldn't happen because it was too late in the window and United couldn't get Edison over the line. Xavi Simons, Manchester United are also still looking into as well. They did make an approach to PSG before the Euros. That's been said by Fabrizio Romano again. And they will possibly go back in because he's obviously only on loan right now. And it is open for PSG to sell Xavi Simons in the summer. So that's pretty much where we're at with the transfer situation on them 2 names, just to keep you updated on everything, because we do like to keep things updated on all departments around Manchester United on these shows. We've had a good show this morning, actually. There's plenty of people in right now. Keep your comments coming in, everyone. Bruno is being found out, I think. Again, more negativity on Bruno. Still never going to understand it. Adam, you need to make your mind up. Are you Erik ten Hag in or out? Because you have different wavelengths. No, I don't need to make my mind up about anything. Who made the rule about being Erik ten Hag in or Erik ten Hag out? Or why do you have to be one or the other? Can you not just, like I've said, say it as it is? Praise good football. And obviously you can debate and not be as positive when things don't go right. Are you not able to actually be positive when something positive happens? This is what people get. And if you're persuaded by other fan channels and other people, then go for it. Go and watch them. Be an inner or an outer if you want. I've always said it. Look, I praise when things are good, and I obviously am more negative when things aren't good and I see obvious problems. You've got to have that conversation. The in and out thing is absolutely ridiculous. Jordy, yes, dead right. A win against Palace tomorrow will keep the momentum going. Keep it going, yes. That is it. Ross says, Bruno should not be your main guy. It's like an NFL team building a team around the kicker. Again, I'll disagree. I'll keep disagreeing on the Bruno side of things. I think everyone is just piling onto a problem that isn't that much of a problem right now, I don't feel. Like, we should not be looking at Bruno. Look, he was dropped out of the side and everyone's still having a go at him. You got what you wanted and you're still having a go. Like, he sat on the bench, other players played brilliantly. He came on, got 2 assists, and he's still a problem. You can only say what you see. The eye test is everything. And until you see massive flaws or massive gains in players' performances, I feel like that's when we should be talking. I understand. Look, everyone knows how I feel about Marcus Rashford. I would still sell him tomorrow. But if he wants to perform for Manchester United and change people's minds, and it's going to take a full season of that to do it, then that's fine. I won't have an argument, will I? I'll be putting my place firmly from my opinions about Marcus Rashford. I still think that he isn't the man for Manchester United, but if he proves me wrong this season and comes back and scores another 25 plus goals, then who am I to even argue that debate? I'll have to hold my hands up and say, well done, you've provided, and you've sort of proved me wrong in a way. But this is what it is with Manchester United players. There is always that glory moment, and there is always that, yes, let's just jump onto anything that's positive, but you know that these players can let you down at any moment. And Bruno's in that category. He is. And you'll always hear me slagging Bruno off and giving him 3 out of 10s in performances. I just don't feel like Bruno Fernandes is as big a problem as what people are making out. And I will always defend him on that side of it. Say what you see. It's the eye test. That's what it's all about. It's important to balance everything as well. It shouldn't be about the manager. If you're a United fan, that came up. If you're a United fan, you should get behind the team, whoever the manager is. Look, I will go to games. I will get right behind every team on the pitch. I will never slag anyone off at the stadium. I will never be physically shouting or giving abuse to players like a lot of fans do. And I will always say my piece after the game. I'll have my opinion on the game. I'll slag players off if I think that they've been, if they've been like a disgrace to the team. It's a bit harsh, but I will slag them off if they've underperformed. We expect better, and obviously when players play well, we praise them. And there's nothing really I can say about any of the players right now in a negative tone. So, yeah, for me, I just look at it and go, just say what you see. And if players are doing well, you praise them. If they're not, then we debate it and we start thinking of other ways around it. Ross says, I'm not having a go, just saying the team shouldn't be built around a player like him. Not anymore, mate. No, definitely not. He's too old. Like, Bruno is not the future of this football club, which is why I said before, and this is what people don't pick up on. How many times have I said, like, Bruno can be dropped? Bruno can be moved into 8. Kobbie Mainoo's best position is 10. That's what he played in the academy. It's where his big moments for United have been. Look, in that 10 role, let's just pick out a couple of moments. The goal against City. The goal against Liverpool in the FA in the league, top corner. The goal against Wolves, where he picks it up in that 10 position on the edge of the box. That's Kobbie Mainoo's area. He isn't the fastest to get up and down the pitch as an 8. We know this. He hasn't got the legs, but he's got that 10-yard of speed and the strength to hold players off at his low centre of gravity in the 10 role, which makes it perfect for him. He should be playing at 10, in my opinion. Super chat in from You Got Raws. Rashford, Casemiro, Shaw and Nana, Eriksen, Lindelof and Antony all need to go before we turn attention to Bruno. Good point. Very good point. Thank you for the super chat. You got Raws as well on that one. 15 likes away from the 300 mark. Thank you, everybody. Keep them likes piling in. We're on the positive vibe this morning. We really are. Day before the game. I just hope tomorrow isn't that day. Like, I've bigged it up all week. United on a bit of a high going into this game, and then you know it can happen. You know it can always happen with United, and I just feel like we need to jump onto the positives that we've got, but still have that sort of balancing look on things. Like, we know what could come. We know how bad United can be. Let's just hope that they cling on to this this good vibe charm that we've got going on right now. And like I said, everything that I've said this morning regarding the injuries and the delayed return of Lenny Yoro, directly coming from the club, not bringing him back too soon, all of that is a massive positive for Manchester United. And I feel like that, alongside everyone being available, Manchester United integrating Agate in, the defence looking more solid, strikers scoring goals. We need to jump. We need to take advantage of this for as long as we can, because it's not going to last. We know we're going to have a dip in form in the season, but these are the moments that sort of ease them dips in form a little bit in terms of the pressure. Get the win against Palace. Get the win against FC Twente. That's 4 wins in a row. And then you're looking at that next 3 games of Spurs, Porto and Villa. And if things don't go right in them games, it's not as bad. And it goes for the season as well. Like, while you're playing well, take advantage of it, because we will have a dip. And that dip won't be as scrutinised or as piled on, as you could say, as in everyone piling on the negative when it goes wrong. Because we will have moments when it goes wrong. Definitely will. And we just have to be aware that, you know what, this team is nowhere near the finished article. But we're seeing more positive signs already in just the start of this season, in the first few games, than we have in the entire of last season. I get the fact that we're not conceding as many shots on goal. My issue at the start of the season was we're not scoring goals. Then we scored 10. Against the teams that you should do, yes, that's granted, but we still scored 10 in 2 games without conceding a goal. So the positive at the start of the season was not conceding as many shots. The less positive was we don't score goals. But now we're not conceding shots in the last 2 games and we're scoring a shed load of goals. Let's ride this wave. Let's just ride this wave for as long as we possibly can and get ourselves into a position where when the dip comes, it's not going to leave us too far away from the top 4, because I'm still sticking to the fact United should have enough and will have enough to make top 4 this season. We are going to get there. I'm positive that it is going to happen. So let's just see how it goes, and let's just see if we can make this happen. I'm praying that we do. I really am. But yes, that is the morning show, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Comments are absolutely on point. I keep saying it. Like, I don't expect you all to agree with me. I want to have the debate. I want to have people pulling me up on some of my comments. It's just bringing the pub and bringing the ground and bringing the fan base, talking outside of games and in pubs and debating with your mates into a live stream and a video. That's what it's all about here, and I love that. Let's get into the poll and finish that up, see where we're at. So, over 900 votes. 55% of you are saying De Ligt and Martinez are Man United centre-back partnership when everybody is fit. Close, not close, but second to that was Yoro, De Ligt and Martinez in the back 3. I'm going to end that poll now. But De Ligt and Martinez are the winners. I had the 2 former Ten Hag centre-backs from Ajax. Who'd have thought, eh? Cheers. We had over 900 in the room with us for the morning show. Absolutely brilliant numbers. Thank you, everybody. Make sure that you please give the video a like on the way out. It's amazing because we're already well over 320 likes. So please like the video. Make sure you share the video. Subscribe to Forever United TV. More importantly, hit that bell notification button so you miss out on no Manchester United content coming forward. I am working in between a lot of the shows at the moment on a project I've got going on. I'm working overtime, which is why the content is mixed up a little bit also right now. But I'm nearly there. It nearly is unveiling time. I just want to make sure that everything is bang on before we do go. So I appreciate you all sticking around and being with me on that one. And on this massive journey that we're having here on Forever United TV. If you want to be part of it, hit the subscribe button. And I will see you all later on today. I'll keep you posted if anything happens in between around lunchtime. Keep an eye out for content there, but back at probably around about 6 o'clock this evening, because we have something coming up on TIFO tonight which I want to talk to you all about in that live 6 o'clock show later on this evening. Thank you, everybody. Have a great Friday. Weekend is here.